Truth Unveiled here, and today I'm going to be talking about banking glitches and why they are so important and the red flag behind them. Because I don't know if you're paying attention, but lately you've been hearing a lot about banking glitches and tech glitches and all of the sort. Could they be preparing for an EMP? Could they be preparing for a CME? You bet you. And I'm going to take you to some reports and banks that have been reporting this within the past few months and let you know the warning signs ahead of time. But basically, on the Times in India, it says that money from 100 SBI accounts vanishes, banks blame tech glitch. It says at least 100 people having accounts with the State Bank of India, Pudukkottai branch, sorry if I butchered that, complained on Saturday that the bank had debited money from their accounts without any prior notice or reason. After several angry customers gathered in front of the Raja Kevavathi branch, sorry if I'm butchering that, which was closed on Saturday, the manager had to rush to the spot to pacify the crowd. The manager told the customers that the money was debited due to a technical glitch and that the issue had been forwarded to SBI's Mumbai headquarters for a quick resolution. Remember, what does your government have to do in order to get things going? What do they have to do? They have to test it out before it happens. And it seems as though, and it's actually true, that they are testing out these bank glitches and these bank viruses before the EMP. And that is what they're getting ready for. Because you can watch my bail-ins video. When the banks stop working and the ATMs stop working, they're going to blame it on a glitch. And I'm going to also leave the link for the 72-hour warning video before martial law, because this relates to martial law. This is a red flag. So hopefully this is waking you up to what's going on, but this isn't the only bank that's doing this. And mind you, this is happening in India, but it's also HSBC as well. I'm on the BBC News, and this was posted January 29th, so only a couple of weeks ago, but it says HSBC online banking is quote unquote attacked. And it says SBC says it successfully defended an attack on its online banking system, but services were disrupted on a key day for many people's personal finances. The bank is apologizing to customers trying to log in to its online banking, which for many was unavailable. It said it was working with the authorities to pursue the criminals responsible. The final Friday in January is payday for lots of people and is also 2 days ahead of a key deadline for paying taxes. Now the question is, okay, so they're doing it on a Friday. Remember, watch out for the day Friday. That's a red alert. But also, the question is why? Why all of a sudden bank glitches? And why is it not one, not two, not three, not four, but many banks across multiple areas and region? It's not just one bank that's doing this, and I'm going to prove this to you. But if we go to the next report, it says on Computer Business Review, MP urges banks to improve IT systems after glitches and cyber attacks. And this was reported on January 25th. And it says, powerful group of MPs write to bank chiefs as well as Bank of England and Financial Conduct Authority. Banks are being urged to improve their IT systems by an influential group of MPs, with Chairman of the Treasury Select Committee Andrew Teary saying that bank IT systems don't appear to be up to job. And it goes on to say, Teary has written to Andrew Bailey, Deputy Governor of the Bank of England and Chief Executive Officer, or CEO, of the Prudential Regulation Authority, or the PRA, and Tracy McDermott, Acting Chief Executive of the FCA, having published on the correspondence he had from the CEOs of Look, RBS, HBC, and Barclays. And I'm going to take you to a report that talks about how those banks have been getting what they call cyber attacks. But are they really cyber attacks? That's the question. So in the letters, he goes on to talk about, it says, Tyree said he suggested that the banks need great IT expertise at main board and subsidiary board level, that much greater resources should be towards modernizing, managing, and securing banks' IT infrastructures, and that legal regularity and structural and cultural changes are needed to the way that banks manage their cybersecurity risks. Why is this all of a sudden becoming a problem? Then it goes on to say that Tyree said that it may be Bailey, as head of the PRA, who is best placed to ensure that banks improve more resilient IT systems and should regularly report to the Chancellor and Parliament on the issue. In his letters, the chairman concludes that until these changes or something like them are made, look at this, the public will remain more exposed than necessary to the risks of banking failures. Why would there be risks of banking failures? And why is it all these banks that are involved with this in multiple regions and places around the world? Hello, is this a red flag? Hello, are they getting ready for something? Hello, what is really going on here? What is the agenda here? I'm going to let you know what that agenda is so that you are aware ahead of time. Now, like I said, what must your government do ahead of time? They have to test things ahead of time before they finally bring it to America. They have to test it all. And it says on the Telegraph, enough is enough. Banks told to stop payment systems crashing. Millions of Britons have been hit by glitches at RBS, HSBC, and Barclays, and MPs have told bosses that they must get a grip of the problem. Hello, what did I say? They test everything in Europe before they bring it to America. They've already tested it in India, and now they're testing it in England with these banking glitches and these bail-ins in Europe. And you can watch more about my bail-ins video, how when a collapse does happen, not if, when it happens, they're going to steal your money from your bank if you don't get it out now. But now we see just how bad it's getting, and I'm going to also give you reports on the economy and how bad it's getting with actual statistics later on. But the report goes on to say that the RBS, or the Royal Bank of Scotland, which includes the NatWest brand, is one of the banks struggling the most with IT problems, frustrating its customers. Now, don't get it twisted. The RBS, or the Royal Bank of Scotland, they also initiated a report because they're one of the top 20 banks of the world that said to sell everything. Why would they tell their bankers and customers to sell everything? That doesn't make any sense. But it goes on to say Britain's biggest bank should spend more money on IT systems and hire more board directors who understand computing to try to put an end to the series of technological glitches plaguing the industry, MPs have said. The RBS, Barclays, and HSBC have all suffered payment system problems ranging from, look at this, manual errors in transaction processes to full-scale computing meltdowns, in total affecting millions of customers by denying them access to basic services, including sending and receiving payments and logging into the accounts to check on their finances. And it goes on to say what Andrew Tyree, the warning that he has written to banks, urging them to take action on this. Don't get it twisted. There is an agenda behind this. Why do you think all these banks are doing this? Why is there a problem to begin with? Because remember, things don't just happen. What are they getting ready for? They're getting ready for martial law. They're getting ready for the implementation of martial law. They are getting ready for the economic collapse. And if you don't think that the economy is collapsing even as we speak, I suggest you think again, because I'm going to take you to some reports that prove the economy is crashing worldwide. Now, I'm also here at thisismoney.co.uk, and it talks about the HSBC customers hit by the so-called computer glitch could be able to claim compensation even if they weren't left out of pocket. Now, like I said, what are the biggest red flag words? Computer glitch, banking virus, IT system, IT failure, technological problem, and technological difficulties. Those are the biggest red flags because they're preparing for what? The EMP, they're preparing for the CME, and they're preparing to get rid of all the ATMs and to shut down the ATMs, and that's how they're going to do it. We see that they're already testing it out. And this report was by James Burton on February 9th. It says HSBC customers hit by a major computer system failure last month could be able to claim compensation, and it goes into the compensation that they may be able to claim. Why am I telling you all this? Because you need to see the agenda, see the warning signs ahead of time, and know just what really is going on, because the mainstream media will not tell you what they are preparing for. Now, if you go here as well to WQAD8 Quad Cities, this talks about the banking glitches that have been going on in America as well. And I did this report a couple months ago in my bail-ins video, which I'll link below, but it says glitches hit debit and credit cards for Wells Fargo, PNC, and SunTrust banks. And don't be surprised when it hits major banks like Bank of America and Chase as well, because it's only a matter of time until it hits those banks too. Why am I telling you this? Because you need to understand what's happening. Now, I did this report before, but I'm going to just reiterate. It says 3 big banks suffered technical glitches when on Friday, December 4th, 2015, that prevented customers from using their debit and credit cards. Why on Friday? The other report also said that it affected on a Friday. Are they testing for something? Are they getting ready for something? This is not one but two instances and occasions where this has happened on a Friday. You can look up Ted Koppel where he talks about the CME and the EMP. It's time to really see the warning signs ahead of time and get prepared, because like I said, when you're starting to see this, anytime you see this glitches in banks, red flag, get your money out of the banks ASAP. Now, like I said, if you don't think the economy is collapsing and crashing in front of our faces, right in front of us, I suggest you think again, because I'm going to give you some real sources that really prove that the economy is collapsing. And it says, I'm on the Economic Collapse blog, and like I said, I highly recommend you check it out. It says, global stocks continue to crash as oil plummets and gold skyrockets. I did a report on the Baltic Dry Index. The Baltic Dry Index has hit below 300. That is the first time in history that that has ever happened. I also did a report on the ships and how they stopped for the first time ever. Now, many people out there might say, oh, but the ships are running again, so everything's okay, right? Wrong. They are preparing to stop the ships altogether. If you don't see this ahead of time, I honestly don't know what to tell you. But not only that, but the prices of crude oil are at their lowest in history. The only other time that they were that low was in 2008, 2009 at the collapse. What does that tell you? But it goes on to talk about stock markets around the world continue to collapse as the new global financial crisis picks up more storm. In the US, the Dow lost 254 more points on Thursday, and it has now fallen for 5 days in a row. European stocks continue to get obliterated, and financial institutions are leading the way. But this week, what is happening in Japan, notice Japan has been most sobering. After falling 918 points the other day, the Nikkei plunged another 760 points early on Friday. The question you have to ask yourself is why? Why all the collapse? Why all the falling of these markets? The Nikkei has now fallen for 7 of the past 8 days, and investors in Japan are in full panic mode. Overall, global stocks are well into bear market territory, according to Zero Hedge, and nearly $17 trillion of global stock market wealth has already been wiped out. As panic arises, investors are seeking alternative investments. On Thursday, the price of gold hit 1,260 an ounce at one point before settling back a bit. But even with the fade at the end of the day, it was still the biggest daily gain in more than 2 years. Overall, gold is having its best quarterly performance in 30 years. Listen to this. Whenever financial crisis happens, what investors seek out safe havens such as gold that can help them weather the storm. And remember, the RBS sent out that warning of sell everything while you can. In particular, demand for physical gold is going through the roof all over the plane. Just check out the following excerpt from a Telegraph article, which you could check that out on your own. But then it goes on to talk about what? The price of oil continues to drop. The price of oil is at its lowest. On Thursday, the US oil dropped as low as 26.21, which was the lowest price in 13 years. Not even during the worst parts of the last financial crisis did the oil ever go this low. And remember, the price of oil was sitting just about 108 a barrel back in June 2014. Since June 2014, oil has fallen about 75%. What does that tell you? And if you thought that was bad, according to CNN, 67 U.S. oil and natural gas companies have filed for bankruptcy in 2015. And it says it right here. That represents a 379% spike from the previous year. Not only that, but in recent weeks, 5 more energy gas producers succumbed to bankruptcy in the first 5 weeks of this year. You can also check out my store closings report, in which I reported that a ton of stores are closing all of a sudden. Over 269 Walmarts are planning on closing within this year alone, with many have already begun the process of closing. Now you can check out more about Walmart and how they relate to these FEMA camps, because that's exactly what they're getting ready for, martial law, and they're converting a lot of these stores into FEMA camps and a lot of these malls into FEMA camps. I did a report on that with guard towers. But the question you need to be asking yourself is why? Why all the bank glitches? Why all the viruses, the bank viruses? Why all the bank computer glitches and the problems? Why? The question is why? Could there be an agenda behind all this? Could this have something to do with the economic collapse? You bet it does. Will the economy crash? Yes. When? We don't know, but you need to prepare ahead of time and see the warning signs ahead of time. Like I said, I'm going to leave the 72-hour warning video so that you can see the warning signs ahead of time. Seek Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha, that all may be well with you, because I'm telling you, when the collapse happens, it's going to happen. And for most people who are not awoke to this, it's going to hit them like a storm. So my advice to you is to get prepared spiritually, get your money out of these banks and start preparing, because when it happens, it's going to happen and you're not going to even know it. So this is Truth Unveiled. Shalom.